Hi, Alexandra Morton here on May the 1st, 2013. Here in British Columbia, Canada, we are in the middle of a provincial election. And so the politicians are coming out with statements about what they would do if they got elected. And I would just like to weigh in a little bit here because there is some debate as to whether salmon farms should trump wild fish because they're better for the economy. I don't think that's the case. So looking at the 2011 BC stats published on a website here in British Columbia, the number of jobs that are created by the wild fishery, so this is sport fishing and commercial fishing, is 9,800 jobs. The aquaculture jobs in British Columbia are 1,700. So the wild fisheries are 6 times larger than the aquaculture. When you look at wages, the amount of wages produced by the wild fishery is 227 million, aquaculture 55 million. So the wild fisheries are producing 4 times as many jobs. Gross domestic product for the wild fisheries 536 million, for aquaculture 61 million. So the wild fisheries are 8 times. Add to this, which is not in these figures, wilderness tourism, $2.2 billion that come into British Columbia from wilderness tourism, which depends on salmon. It's whale watching, bear watching, kayaking, all the beautiful tourism things that are offered to the people around the world. There was an Oracle poll done on British Columbians and how people felt about getting the salmon feedlots off of wild salmon migration routes. And the poller asked whether the person was an NDP, a Liberal, or a Green Party member. 68% of the NDP people that were polled said they would like to see salmon farms removed from wild salmon migration routes. 60% of the Liberals polled agreed, and 90% of the Green Party members who were polled said they would like to see salmon farms removed from wild salmon migration routes. One of the things that is out there that is being said by various political parties is that salmon farming is now a federal issue. Well, that's sort of true and really not true because the province of British Columbia owns the license of occupation for every single salmon farm on the coast of British Columbia. So in other words, the permission that they get to drop their anchors on a specific part of the seafloor, that is a rental agreement with the province. And right in the agreement for every one of these salmon farms, it says that the province can terminate that license in 60 days if it is in the public interest with no compensation to the company. So in other words, in the case where Marine Harvest, for example, has put 500,000 Piscine Rio virus infected fish into the water on the Fraser-Saca migration route, if the public feel that this is too big a risk for their fish, if there is some evidence that those fish have the virus and that it is spreading into the wild, the province of British Columbia can actually terminate that license. Now, how did fish farming end up in British Columbia? It was a provincial deal. In the beginning, the province of British Columbia was the one who regulated it. And this was done with a kind of a murky legal structure around the whole thing because in Canada, it's unlawful to own a fish in the ocean. And the Hinkson decision in BC Supreme Court made the ruling that it's the same ocean inside the pen as outside the pen. So clearly the rules that apply to the ocean outside of the fish feedlots should apply inside the fish feedlots because you can't own a salmon in the ocean in Canada. So despite this, the industry has persisted. And there's a lot of questions about whether or not it really is good for the economy. So the NDP government, the politicians who are running in the leading party, could say, okay, here's what we can do. We've looked at this, we've done a full analysis. The wild salmon economy is actually much larger than the industrial aquaculture economy. And so what we're going to do is we are going to terminate the licenses on the key migration routes of wild salmon. We're going to transition the 1,700 workers. Maybe we could do wage assistance for new employers or help them build new businesses. And then get the industry out and really work towards promoting wild salmon. Diversify the plants that used to process farm salmon. The hake that is coming into this coast could be further processed in the Port Hardy region. We could get shrimp peelers in there. There could be work done to do value-added processing on the abundant pink and chum salmon that come into this coast. There's many answers. We do not need to destroy the wild salmon of British Columbia for 1,700 jobs. We can work with these people. Society does need to bear the cost of moving them into another type of job, because I don't think it's fair that they got caught in the middle of this. But there are solutions. The wild salmon economy is much bigger in British Columbia than the industrial economy. And I challenge the politicians running in this race to notice that and to act on it. Thanks very much, and good luck.